The current spoiler warning level is Azure.
Friends and folks, for this episode, you're looking at a spoiler warning level of Azure. The cool kids among you may know the name Tyrant Sword of Neofalia, but I bet a lot of you don't, and that's fair enough. This is a Gundam side story that is, at this point, canon's a weird thing with Gundam, but it's pretty fair to call it non-canon. It was supposed to be, taking place concurrently with Zeta and extending into the future. And no other Gundam stories have picked up what it was putting down, so it's just kind of this island of a weird little story with weird machines that will almost certainly never be animated, because very few people remember it. But it's sick, so we're going to talk about it, and you should join us. Please enjoy the episode. Hello, friends and folks, and welcome back to another episode of Mechanista NG. I'm 3 hours into Super Robot Wars Y, and they still haven't given me a single mobile suit. I'm 6
That's funny. I'm Dylan. How you liking it thus far?
It's, it's a Super Robot Wars game.
Yeah.
I think...
Not a lot of strategic depth, all things considered, but probably fun to watch animations, and maybe occasionally funny character dialogue, is my assumption.
Yeah, I think both of those things are true. So far, Oh wait, no, I'm sorry, what am I talking about? I totally have Gundams that just started happening.
Okay.
I got some G Gundam characters earlier that I was fighting about, and I just got the Impulse and Shin. So I'm just full of shit, never mind.
I mean, it is funny that they are the ones that escape your mind, though. Perhaps it is telling.
It does take a little bit to get them.
Okay.
So you don't get them at first. Yeah, I think honestly my biggest frustration is the fact that you don't the the original robot this time. There aren't actually two options, and that really annoys me.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean...
Because I don't like it that much. It's okay, but it has,
This is always the
Michael
gamble.
Bay Transformers syndrome.
I mean, this is always the gamble when there's only one robot, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, I just mean, at least usually when you have two of them... it's usually I will like one more than the other, but if it's just one, it's such a gamble. In the case of Super Robot Wars X, hey, I like that one, so it works. In the case of T, I don't like the Tyrannado, but that's the main one.
I like the Tyrannado.
I'm just not a huge fan of it. It's fine. The problem is, of VXT, it's my least favorite of the three. Because I love the Van Gray.
Just a post for the folks in here. Here is the design art for the Loondrock and the Loondrock 2. Because you do have two options. One of them is a recolor.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Which I think it's all right. It's fine.
In game, it's just I don't hate it, and it has some fun moves and stuff. It's just really busy.
Well, you know what's funny?
In a way that I don't think looks good in those sprites.
Yeah, when I see this design, this is a design I go, if I see a 3D toy of this, I think it will be cool. Imagining it, in animation, in 2D, especially with sprites, especially with, slightly SD'd sprites, it's not, I am less excited for it there. But it is a design that looks like it will be cool if it gets a figure or something.
Uh-huh. I'm trying to get Google to give me a fucking decent screenshot of this, because it's all fucking stupid, YouTube, previews that don't open right. But, you can see just the way it's rendered, I feel looks weird in sprite form.
Oh, yeah. Duh. It's also, the game's not even really doing the SD-style sprites as often. And,
right.
Right,
a lot of these are, these are 3D ones that are doing faux 2D. Yeah.
Yeah, and so when you see this, it's a little busy for being a small sprite, unfortunately. Yeah.
But its moves are pretty fun. So that's something, right?
That's interesting. It's actually M. Gansey is the same guy who did the Gun Leon in Z from back in the day.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. It's Naya Koji, whose art name is M. Gansey. The Gun Leon, of course, being this friend. I guess looking at it, I can see like some of the similarities and ideas with like the details and shapes. But yeah, it's just interesting. I was like, what has M. Gansey done before? Because I know I've seen that name, and it's like, oh, okay, it's that one.
Well, let me see if I can post some screenshots just to have some fun here.
Yeah.
I had to take this screenshot just because this is fucking hilarious.
Yeah, no, that's pretty good. That's just really funny.
For of course for our audio listeners, this is a dialogue screen from one of the cutscenes, and this is Char's counterattack Char speaking to Relina Darlian, saying, "I look forward to our next meeting." What other good ones we have? I really like what they've done with Domon in this one, which is he is just a celebrity, but he's just a celebrity mostly for the love confession to Rain, and so everyone's just like, "Oh wow, it's Domon Kashu. Are you treating Rain right?" And he's like, That's
so funny. That's pretty good. I know people have really liked Forte. Is the other thing I've noticed is the girl people have liked her.
One of the things they do that's really fun with her is that she has a lot of history.
Uh-huh.
So a lot of people you meet are like, "Oh, Forte. Well, thanks for your help with that thing before." And the other people you're with are like, "Sorry, you guys know each other?" So that's fun.
Okay.
Here is a deranged line. This is the new commander, who's a little girl, basically being like, "Hey, listen, it's okay for private people to own gigantic weapons. I think it's fine." In this conversation, she's talking about a gigantic city that's also a warship, and she's like, "And the government says we shouldn't have this." It's like, yeah.
Yeah, I wonder. Amazing. I mean, look, when you have a lot of factions in Super Robot Wars, it's hard to not run into the issue of, is a government running this? Especially because half the time the government is the Earth Federation, and they are evil.
One more screenshot and then one more tidbit. Unfortunately, this one I only caught it as it was fading out, but I just find it very funny to have her saying, "Honestly, I'm looking forward to chatting with the aces."
So is
it's the game explaining
little girl
to you
with
that
the,
someone hits
beret, is she like your ship commander lady?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I just kind of got the vibe of that.
Yeah.
And then
the story tidbit is in the opening narration, Zero Requiem occurs.
Oh.
It's like bam.
Okay, yeah, that's a lot to just start.
And then
with.
half an hour into the game, the Federation disbands.
What?
It's wild.
Okay, that's fun. Ridiculous, but that's fun.
Yeah.
All right. Well.
Anyway,
we may as well do our thing this week.
Indeed. Let's roll some dice for a request.
All right.
Oh, okay, sure. This is a request from Noel Queen on Twitter.
Okay.
What's the most Oh, I've got an interesting idea. I have no idea how easy or hard this will be for you.
Oh, okay.
I could see it going either way.
I'm excited. Let's see.
But I'm going to give you an interesting piece. So. There you go.
Oh, is this the Tyrant Sword?
This is the Tyrant Sword.
Yep. I recognized that the back parts like immediately, because that's like the area behind the shoulder, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Precisely.
Sorry, it's just funny to me that I got that. I'm like, oh. There are just some times where I just get it, and then I feel embarrassed about it.
When it's like this is just black and white line art, and it's like at that point giving you a leg feels like negligence on my part, because it's like there's not even color to make a decision with. That's not very interesting. Yeah. So
well, and then like if I only saw like the knee part here, I might have assumed this was like the novel art for like Hathaway or something, just because looking at it, you know what I mean? It's got the black and white line art feature. It's just got the shading in like a similar way to Mariki. The pointy.
Yeah, definitely.
Interesting. Anyway. Alright. So yeah, the Tyrant Sword. This is the, what is it? SX. It's got a weird number. It's like SX. I know that.
SX-NFR-01SES.
Alright, cool. And this is going to be an interesting one to talk about, because the way it gets shown is a little incorrect in things, because this is actually the upgrade that we have right here on screen.
Sure. Yeah.
This is the Agles. Yeah. If you want real quick, what I will do is I actually have a whole book. Now you can leave the
Oh, please, take it away.
Yeah, you know what?
I'll get the head out of here so you can
Yeah, here. So, and actually now that I look at it, funnily enough, that the Vulcan pod is also an upgrade. So, for now, you know what? Here,
okay.
let us just simply erase these. And then I will put the pages of the original Tyrant Sword. Oh, is it loading? There we go. There's the original Tyrant Sword. So
very high resolution.
It's a little simpler. I'll let you do the resizing. Oh, that's probably why it's taking a bit to upload. These are large. And then here's one more. So we got 3 pages. I will let you handle that.
I hate it when it does that.
And yeah, this is a design I really love, that I really hope is the next thing to make a return. After the D first, and it has, like, seemingly returned to stuff now, I'm like, oh, it would be so cool if Tyrant Sword got to show up again. So, yeah, to describe this design, this is a design by Kazumi Fujita. It was for...
You should get these files to Chris. They're not on MAHQ.
Yeah, oh yeah, I probably should. These were from a Hobby Japan story, originally. And so the Hobby Japan story is Tyrant Sword of Neofalia, with designs by Kazumi Fujita. Kazumi Fujita, of course, tons of things on Zeta Gundam. There are some designs that are wholly his, or designs like the Zeta itself, where he handled, like, the, you know, final cleanup and line art for that, for the show.
But amazing design.
Yeah, very good designer. And so, yeah, this is his original Gundam. The story for Tyrant Sword is really weird. It's got one unique thing in Tyrant Sword of Neofalia, though, is it actually comes up with a thing that doesn't get used for quite a lot of years, until later.
Is this the sand barrels?
No. The mobile suits. It's called the Tyrant Sword because it has control of several bit mobile suits, which are the slave swords, the Tyrant and the Slave. So we'll talk about those. So this is written. It takes place during Zeta, which is insane, given how weird the designs are. But it takes place during Zeta.
Hold up. You sure about that?
Yes, because
I mean, listen, I'll trust you over...
is in it, as you may see. If you're looking at the wiki entry, you might be saying, oh, it is told as 5 excerpts from a story written in UC 118. That's what it
says, yes.
Yes, that's because that's what the story framing device is.
Oh, that's when in the universe it was written in that time about this.
This is a declassified, document that you are reading, is the framing device of the story.
Sure.
But as you can see, it takes place during the Grips conflict.
Okay, sure.
Which the story comes out in September 1987, right? So, if it's 1987, that's gotta be, right after Double Zeta ends.
I don't know if I mentioned, this is a request from user Null Queen on Twitter. Yep. So, since it's a Twitter request, it's been on here a while. Yeah. Thank you for your patience.
Surprised we haven't talked about this friend, just because this is a guy I like a lot. I guess, alright, so to describe the design, starting with the head, we have a very weird head. It is not like any other mobile suit, really. It is not like a typical mobile suit of the era. You've got... The head is divided kind of... Alright, you have the top of the head with it, which is its own separate piece. It has a bit of a rounded point on the front with a camera located in the middle of the forehead. Like a little embedded, little jewel there. around the sides of it, you get some dark, thick lining, and you get several, like, little sort of, like, detail things. It's interesting because if you look here on the left, the big art is not as detailed, but then if you see the right, there is an art of the head that is detailed up just to make, like, a big copy of that. You can see here. So he already is, like, doing, like, a divide between the designs, like, of doing, like, okay, when I draw it from a distance, I'll draw it simpler, and then I'll have a, you know, when I need to draw it up close, I can do complex stuff.
There are some Fujita designs I don't like as much, but he just always does such cool heads.
Yeah. So, the back of this headpiece, you've got, like, a little flap, like a little part going off the back, and then also coming from below you have two large cables running into, like, the collar, like, neck area from behind, which is really cool. Below the large forehead piece on the sides you have these big circular cheek-like pieces. I kind of like a Jim's, I guess, but like you know, the big circles, but not really looking like a Jim's. It's just two big circular, like, parts on the sides of the cheeks. Then for the face and the eyes and everything, you've got kind of, the eyes are inset kind of deep into the face. You've got, like, these thin little eyes, and then around them you've got, like, you know, like, the housing, which has some, like, thick lines and is, like, shaded over generally. You've got a face mask that is, I guess, sort of shaped like a Gundam mask, just with no vents on it or anything. Or at least no vents on the front. You have some vents that run on the sides of them. And then you've got, like, two cheek parts that extend forward almost like mandibles. Feels very Zanskare or something there. It's weird. And then for the neck, you actually get, like, several layers of, like, neck armor, like, you know, so if it's, like, moving the head up and down, like, you know, they'll run past each other like the bits of metal, which is kind of fun. It's a really strange head. It is not like a normal Gundam head. It's a very 80s mecha head. It's so interesting to me because, here's the thing, Fujita does do a lot of work in Gundam. Like, I would argue he is a primary guy in when it comes to, like, the way Zeta suits look. You know, and it's funny because he doesn't really work on Double Zeta or, like, the later shows as nearly as much. But, like, for Zeta, though, like, the show Mobile Suit Zeta Gundam, he is, you know, does things like the Beerlint, does things like the Gapplay, etc. So he's got, like, his own unique design language that does permeate throughout Zeta. Just, it's just interesting to see him making a Zeta side story design, not, like, basically, like, a year or two after working on Zeta, and it's just such a strange, unique design.
And just another testament to what, I don't know, what a disappointment the Gundam Wiki is. First of all, they don't have designer noted on this one, which, you know, honestly, I might actually fix that one. I might actually do that. But why is it that on the Gundam Wiki you can't, like, sort by category of who designed something? Why is that not just a feature of this wiki? It's so obvious.
Yeah, that would actually be pretty cool. Alright, moving on to the torso. So, the torso is kind of in three vertical segments. You've got, around the head, the collar area, you've got, like, a bumped up collar on the back that is kind of part of the backpack more so, but it's, you know, connected very, like, into the torso. You've got two large, like, bars on either side of the head that pop up. These are maybe, like, maneuvering verniers or something on the front of them there. And you get these, like, nice little, like, cylindrical, like, canisters kind of underneath, like, in the gap between the front and back of it. The middle section, you've got a big overhang of armor that hangs over the cockpit hatch. And then on the two sides, you've got, like, a plate of armor that is located over a like, very wide vent. The vent kind of sticks forward a bit. Actually, looking at it, like, funnily, this chest, I would say, is, like, kind of Zeta-esque. You know, like a very detailed Zeta Gundam chest. Just, like, the design of, like, the vents there.
Sure.
You know, it's just sectioned like a similar way. Though, rather than getting thin as you go down, like most Gundam designs, you actually have these two big blocks of armor below the vents, going around the sides of the torso here.
Well, one of the interesting things about the Zeta's chest, to me at least, is it does look like it's a core fighter. It's not.
Yeah, but it looks like it would be, yeah. Well, and, part of that has to do with the way it transforms, right? Like, the way the chest needs to turn forward and this becomes like a nose and all that. It's just interesting.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the moving on to the arms. So first of all, we have a lot of connective tissue for the arms, like lots of little mechanical bits. You get a little bit of armor over it, but then as you can see, there's actually a large breakaway of like the torso and the arm. Let me put a larger version of that for the video, folks. And you can see it's got a very like detailed like arm connection like section there. You've got like a bunch of these little cables and pipes going into the shoulder joint. And it's got a little bit of armor like covering them, but yeah. Then you've got for the arm below, you've got like the joint that is connecting into the arm there. You've got some kind of weird bicep armor. And then you've got, like, a large shoulder thruster unit. So for the shoulder, it's kind of a typical shape overall. It's a, like, rounded, squarish shoulder. It's a bit bigger on the outside than the inside, so it's, I guess, a trapezoid in shape. You've got these verniers all over it. You've got one on, like, the front base of it where it meets the torso, and then you've got, like, two at the angle on the outside. Then you've got a single piece of armor plating over the top. The armor plating has a stripe over it. You've got a sort of this, like, bar that is connected over as well. It's just like an extra bulged out piece of armor. It's got these little circular indentations in it. And then plugged into the side, and I love the way this is separated if you're on the... This is one I just recommend watching the video for, because you should see the art. The art's really good, and it's hard to find.
And it's... Yes, it's... this is a case where Dylan has resources that are not as easily available.
Yeah. But I like that, like, you've got the whole, like, engine, like, the whole thruster apparatus drawn out here, and then, of course, it just ends in the big square, like, thruster that you kind of typically get in the era. It does show that it is designed so that the end of it can like move up and down a bit. And then you can actually see, I like the way it's got these cables plugged in to the shoulder. And then of course the shoulder itself also has a cable going into like the very upper part of the arm, like the armor does. So lots of cables on this guy, which of course I appreciate. For the actual bicep armor design, the outside bit of bicep armor, you've got a panel line running down. It thins out excessively, like where the joint is connected into. So it's like thick at the base, and then it thins out a lot as it reaches the joint. The inner bicep has like almost like a muscular bump of rounded armor, interestingly. And then, funnily, this is actually a double-jointed arm, and he shows where the double joints are. Like, it's got the circular cap around, but then the actual joint on the inside, the rotation, you can see, like, the notation for rotation there, is, there's one on the top, and then the bottom has, like, a rotation point there, which I just think is... It's just interesting that he details that, especially just for the time. It's cool getting art like that. The lower arm is kind of like the Zeta style, where the forearm has, like, the bare cables that are just kind of sticking out, and you can see some mechanical, like, pistons and such around that. And then the outside, this has the armor broken away, but you can see on the normal art, it's got some rounded armor going around the outside of the arm. It's got a bit of a hook going back from the elbow area. It's got some extra thick bumps of armor, like, over the outside of the wrist areas. It's also got like a little maneuvering fin, like a little ambac fin, basically, that just can move on the arm there. And then the hand is kind of inset into the armor. The hand is also like designed in a way where the the thumb connection area is actually like this thick kind of triangular piece, which is cool. They don't look like typical Gundam hands. Like the fingers are thick and armored, and you get like between the thumb and the palm, you just get this like big, cool triangular piece. It's unique hands, which I like when we get instead of just the typical hands. So very detailed going there. For the legs, or for the waist first, you've got a crotch piece that is, pointed armor going forward. It's got like a little... You can see where, like, the armor would move around this, like, central part. So it's kind of just got, like, a singular front skirt piece that, ends in a point. And then beneath... It's kind of Methis-y, this crotch piece here, Though, funnily, this is not a transforming design, even though it has all these hallmarks that feel like they belong to transforming suits. The rear... You don't really have, like, a side skirt or a rear skirt. Like, the back of the armor there is just, like, this, sort of rounded trapezoidal piece, or, like, a hexagon, I guess, is what it technically is in terms of angles, but, the shape of it is, like, more of a triangular shape. The legs are very rounded. These legs feel very Camphor-esque, funnily enough, even though this predates the Camphor, where it's got, like, the thick panel line just running down the whole of the leg, like, where you just got this, like, thick armor separation line. The sides of the thighs have skirts attached to those, and they protect a little bit around the front, and a little bit around the sides. They're just kind of like these, pieces of armor that protect around the front, back, and side, attached to the sides of the thighs there. As you move down, you've got these weird knee parts, and then for the legs, you've got an outer, like, leg thruster, like, facing out. It's, typical of the Zeta era, things like the Hyzak and whatnot. Just on the lower calf, you have this little thruster on the outside. It's got, like, a little, directional, like, or, like, a little thing for, the blowback and all that over it, hanging over. And then on the back of the leg, you get, like, an interesting series of, like, these little boxy parts on the back that I believe are also just, like, thrusters and such. Might be, like, that the big box in the middle between, like, the two holes there is, like, the propellant tank.
Yeah.
Is kind of the look it has. And then the feet, very long, very Zeta-esque. They're long, pointy. They have a bit of a divide between the toe and the heel. You have not really so much of a high heel, but the heel, like, has a part that, like, goes up and back kind of far. And then you get, like, little thruster arrangements on the bottom of the foot. Finally, for the backpack unit, this backpack's interesting to me. For another Fujita design to compare it to, kind of, it actually kind of reminds me of the Gundam Mark III backpack, just heavily stylized, just to, like, show for comparison. Taking, like, the Mark III backpack, which the Mark III is a Fujita design, so you see what I mean, right? Like, the big middle section with some thrusters, and then you've got, like, two outer, like, binders. It's just different in overall design, but it's interesting to me just because the overall philosophy feels similar here. So you've got, attached to the this backpack part, you've got a binder on either side. They have a large intake on the front, and then they are, like, very, almost Beerland-esque, like these very long, a little bit boxy binders. Just big thrusters, though, on the back. And then on the very bottom side of the backpack, you have one extra, like, long thruster as well. Kind of comes down in a triangular shape, bit scooped at the end. You also get, like, lots of little vents and such all over the backpack for detail. Anyway, yeah, this is the Tyrant sword. It's a fucking cool design. I like this design a lot. I think it's a very unique design overall. It has a couple of things going on for its equipment. So the base form here does not have, like, any extra equipment other than a beam rifle. The beam rifle is very weird. So let me get you a picture of it up close a bit. God, there's actually a whole other page here. So you know what? We'll put this in here for people to look at, like the whole page. Oh, hold on. There we go. I'll let you resize that, and then I'll do like the zoom-ins as we talk about the parts. But he really thought through how this thing comes together. It's very funny to me.
Wow.
Because you have like a whole
intricate.
exploded body up there where it shows like all the parts. So you know what? A couple of things before we go over the gun, just because it goes with like body stuff. But like looking at it, like those big boxes I mentioned on the torso, these are
Ammo.
No, these are, it says air out something unit. I think these are thrusters that are connected in, or like heat vents that like vent the heat backwards, basically, below the normal vents here.
Yeah, I guess. Just the belt there seemed very, but yeah.
I mean, it might just be so that they can like maneuver, like as in like they can point. You know what I mean? Like it's like a flexible belt for angling them. I'm trying to read that katakana. Sorry, I meant to take a picture of that up close. They're like, it just says air out something unit. I know that that's air, and I know that that's unit.
Yeah.
I think that's auto, right?
Maybe. The second character there, Fujita, your handwriting is a little...
Yeah. But,
yeah, well.
Anyway, then, you know, I mentioned it already with the front skirt, but you can actually see here, like, you know, the way that moves in there. With the separate part there. Then you've got, like, just a bunch of random little things. This is a very complex machine. Like I said, it's funny to me how much detail he put into this. Alright, now to talk about the one armament this does have that we know of here. We've got this rifle. We also have some really cool zoom-ins of the hands down there. I love all these, like, extra pistons on the wrist and stuff that he has drawn here. It's so cool. It's funny because, like, hands are a thing that I feel like, especially in the modern era... Not as much in the modern era. I want to say in the aughts and the 2010s, the hands were generally just treated as, like, okay, we're just gonna always do them, you know. Like, we're doing, like, the same style of hands. That way we can just reuse them. But it's really cool getting detailed hand art, actually, on Mecha, I think. And I really like these hands. The beam rifle is a very boxy design. It's got a sensor sticking out on the right side of it. Then it's got this, like, large... sticking on the outside as well, like this large metal, like, ring almost. Like, not really a ring, I guess. It's a, what would you even call it? Like, it's like two metal pieces that meet towards the end, that stick out on the side.
Yeah, I don't even know what to...
I think that, if I remember right, this is meant to be like a heat sink. Like, when this fires, like,
I guess that
the
makes sense.
metal here is, like, heat-absorbing metal, and so it can, you know, run the heat all the way to the end. I know a lot of custom paint jobs for this suit, even, like, official ones that come later, will sometimes do, like, a metal, like, a paint job of, like, you know, it having, like, the scored, like, heated metal. Like, actually, here's a good example from a painted model from Hobby Japan. You can see it's got, like, the scored, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's heated towards the end. It's really cool looking when you have it painted that way, actually. So I'm guessing it's just, like, heat absorption, like metal for heat absorption, which is really cool. Otherwise, it's just like a boxy beam rifle. It's got a, you know, singular handle. It's got a little, this is a mount / armrest part on the back here. Like, so I guess a stock, basically. Little one there. And then, yeah, you've got the little sensor off to the side. You know, it ends in just kind of a standard barrel. Cool looking beam rifle. But yeah. It's interesting though, because the first, you know, this first Tyrant sword doesn't really have a lot of equipment, and I think that's because I think it's supposed to just be like a test machine, you know? Like it's testing a bunch of features rather than being like This is the thing we send out for combat. Just to show the colors of this machine also. Here are the colors. Oh, give it a moment. There we go. Just do it big since I know about the size you're going for there. So it's got this, like, you know, blue and white color scheme. It's a very light blue, and then a lot of the little details are like this burnt orange color. Like, it's a little more red than your standard orange. You also get these little yellow bits of padding over the beam rifle there. And yeah, so the Tyrant Sword has, kind of going with the model number, a thing called the, it's got, like, an SE generator, which is basically the special thing going on with it. It's some kind of, like, high-power generator for its weapons and whatnot. And for its thrust. What are the details on this? I don't know. We don't really have a lot of translated detail about this suit. I know that basically the whole thing is this is supposed to be a really cool suit that has a really good power source and has, like, the cockpit is designed in a really crazy way, which we will get into, because it's meant to, like, you know, have, like, a lot of pilot feedback and whatnot going on with it. It's basically meant to be, like, a machine that, you know, you are, like, connected into. So, the other thing is, if the pilot is a new type, they can control unmanned units. There's a whole bunch of those. We'll get into the unmanned units later because they have their own whole upgrade tree, so we'll talk about those more later. What I'm trying to do is find some of the more details for the design. Well, I guess as a testament to, like, the weird test nature of this machine, for the main guy who is piloting it, which is, Keith McGregor, the default pilot suit is this really huge, bulky pilot suit that's got, like, stuff plugged into it.
Interesting.
So,
have a pretty significant back unit as well.
Yeah. So it's like a, you know, going more with the, like, the test bed machine ideas going on with this machine. The other ridiculous thing to talk about with this machine is this machine's cockpit is wild. So let me get a close-up of it here. The cockpit, when it opens in the chest, pops out and is almost like a motorcycle. It is like you lay down flat on it. It apparently, like, responds to a lot of different points of pilot feedback. It's got, like, a lot more, like, it's just got so much going on with it. It's got, like, triggers at the base that you hold on to, like, where the bike handle is. You know, the pilot is all plugged up into this machine. You know, it's got pedals and whatnot. So, I don't know the exact details, but it feels like this is meant to be, like, a weird control system that is, like, it can do a bunch of pilot feedback stuff. Like, I presume, like, you leaning and whatnot has, like, things it measures. There's all these pedals and stuff. It's a lot. I love it. I love this. I would love to see it in action because it is ridiculous that this has just, like, essentially a tiny super future motorcycle inside of it as the control scheme. Which, you know, some people might go, well, how does that work? To be fair, no Gundam control schemes ever look like they would work for all the movements and whatnot they have to do, if we're being honest. Like, anything outside of G Gundam.
Yeah. It's amazing how many different things you can do in a mobile suit by grabbing a lever and sliding it forward.
Yeah. Here we also have a really cool shot of the of the Tyrant Sword in the maintenance bay with a bunch of extra cables plugged into it, presumably for refueling and whatnot. You can see the cockpit block, like, open on the chest there. It's one of those chests with, like, multiple layers of armor over it, which is always fun. Which I think is kind of common on the Mark II, or not Mark II, the Zeta. It was called Gundam Mark II, the show. Zeta Gundam suits, though, where, like, you know, even though the hatch opens, you'll then see, like, another hatch underneath. this kind of has, like, that going on with it, which is fun.
Believe in a sign of Mark II.
But yeah, so this machine gets an upgrade, which is the more probably, like, known in scene art, which is the Agles unit. Agles, maybe it's Agres? Agles, I think. They always spell it with an L in English. Sure. I would have assumed it was Agres, like aggressor, but yeah. So we'll put that there. It does get some new equipment with this. I will let you handle the sizing and whatnot of this. Here's another. Sure. Sorry for it being so wide, but yeah. So added onto the head, we have what is called a mega beam pod for the head. So it's like,
wow.
So theoretically, like, it's not just like a beam Vulcan or anything. Like, this is actually like a decent beam weapon in the head, given that it's called a mega beam pod. Uses the same rifle design. And then it adds a very Zeta-esque shield.
I mean, specifically, it's more like the Zeta Plus kind of stuff, right?
Yeah, it's this very, like, long, thin shield. It has, like, this outer, like, little, like, stabilizer fin up here. And finally, the other thing it adds is to the back binders there, it adds these little side wings that you can see back there. And, like, then the side wings that it adds there onto the side then have little wings on them as well that are swept back. So it adds a bunch of these, like, extra little fins and, like, thrusters to the backpack. And so that's the Agles. So, just kind of a relatively minor upgrade, I guess, overall in terms of its equipment. For some design stuff on it, we have... I'll share both the old and the new model, because, like, Hobby Japan, obviously, like, there was an older model that was done at the time of the story, and then eventually, like, Hobby Japan, like, in the aughts, did, or maybe even the 2010s, did, like, a sort of a retrospective thing, you know? And then they had a new model for that, which, it's always fun seeing models of different eras. So, here you can see the original, like, custom model here, which, very nice looking, especially considering this in 1987 or 88. Very cool custom model here. Nice paint job. Doesn't really change anything on the design, like, overall with, like, the colors or anything. Should note the shield is, like, black with red at the end, which is interesting. But otherwise, it's got the blue, the yellow, the white. Here's a more modernized model of it. Done for the... oh, whoops. Didn't mean to paste that over. Meant to paste that as...
And this thing doesn't transform?
Nope.
Why would you give it a shield like that, then? Well, whatever. Maybe, you know what? Maybe it's for stabbing Sirocco.
Yeah.
Maybe they anticipated a need.
Yeah. But yeah, so there's, like, a more modern model example of it. A couple of interesting things that I didn't necessarily catch earlier that the model helps me notice. I didn't notice that those little rings on the shoulder, the circles are not, like... It's not indentations, they are just holes cut into it.
Oh,
so
interesting.
That's interesting. You can see it on the old model there, too. Now, the interesting thing to compare with the art is how different the size of these wings can be. Like, on the backpack there.
And also how white they made it.
Yeah, they made it a very white color with the modern one. So...
Feels like it belongs in 0080 with this color scheme.
Yeah, kind of dig it, though.
I don't dislike it. I feel like the more gray color scheme feels more like the vibes of this machine to me. Like, but it's interesting.
Yeah. All right, so here's where things are going to get a little weird. So, that's the machine. Its main gimmick, as mentioned, is that it also can control other mobile suits as bits. So it basically can be like a one-man assault squad. What I need to do is get those in order, because there is a machine called the Slave Sword, but that is not the only... That machine that it controls has its own upgrade progression. So give me one moment. And I will show that. So, did we do a Nemo episode ever?
I'm sure we did.
Nemo,
I'll
Mechanista.
check for
Yeah.
sure, but
I'm not actually seeing a Nemo episode. I don't know if we ever did the Nemo.
I keep pulling up the wrong thing. There's unit tracking. Nemo.
Oh, we discussed it in the Mark II episode. Interesting.
Yeah, and it seems like the only ones we did then was the Nemo Defensor, and the Nemo Rhymes. Well, the Rhymes was in a cleanup.
Yeah. Well, the Nemo... That's... Oh, God, that was like an ancient era. I can see why we did weird things. Well...
Yeah, a long time ago. It was because we talked about the G Defensor and the Super Gundam, and so we just did the Nemo while we were at it. I'm sure that's why.
Yeah. Also, it was like episode 22, so we were still learning the format. Well... Okay, we'll go over all the weirdo Nemos then for this thing, because it's kind of the only way to do it. So, there are a couple of units that are
Nemos, but like weirdos.
Yeah, and eventually those get turned into the slave swords, so we kind of have to... Now, the problem is, I need to find the original Nemo that they have in this, because... Funnily enough, this first early page actually doesn't have the Nemo sword. It has the Nemo sword.
Is it the RS-81STI?
There's a couple.
Because this is the Nemo STI. I'm gonna post it, and you're gonna tell me if this is it.
Okay, yes, that is like the introductory Nemo. Okay, cool. I'm trying to find
the way it
where
is framed here
book.
is like this is just a like an improved production model.
Yeah, it looks like an improved production model Nemo. You know, it's got a lot of Fujita like extra details. You've got like the little antenna on the head here and whatnot. But yeah, I was trying to see if I could find more info on it, but unfortunately, I don't think we actually have a lot about it in the little publication I have even. Hell, the publication I have unfortunately starts with like the upgrade of this, basically. Oh no, here it is. Mm-hmm. Okay, I see. It's on the second page. Okay. Interesting. Yeah, so it's the RS-81STI Nemo. And yeah, so it's like an upgraded Nemo. It's got a lot of little like touches going on with it that are unique. You know, it's got backpack beam sabers instead of skirt beam sabers. You can see the one there. You know, it's got a boxier design, but overall it's still a Nemo. It's just like a souped up Nemo. Where things get weird are with the next one, the STI-SES, or the Nemo Sword Kai. There we go. Which starts doing a lot of weird things to the design. The head is like no longer a normal Nemo head. It still has the antenna, but as you can see here, it has a mono eye in the middle and eyes on the side. Like little green eyes. So, yeah, it's really weird. It's also painted in this like black and orange color scheme, which I, of course, quite like. For some close-ups of the head unit, we actually have some very detailed black and white line art close-ups here. So, it adds some extra vents to the front of the Nemo face, like that surround the middle like mask part that bumps out, which is really weird. It almost gives it like sort of like a futuristic gas mask vibe.
Yeah.
And yeah, and you can see it's got a large mono eye in the middle, and then it's got these two little sub eyes on the side. It kind of reminds me of some of the later DJ stuff that happens in some stories where they'll give the DJ the Gundam eyes in addition to having the mono eye.
Sure.
But yeah, so really unique thing going on there with the head. Other changes that are unique is the arms are kind of just like the Nemo arms. It's got like the same shoulder design with the thrusters on the front. You know, they're boxy arms, kind of simple. The thing is, it adds to the backpack. It adds these large binders, sort of reminiscent of the ones that are on the Tyrant sword. They've got these little boxes at the bottom, kind of resemble the back middle box that is like on the Tyrant sword skirt. And then actually the rear skirt itself has these like big thrusters added to it as well. At least I think... Oh no, those are still attached to the backpack, it looks like. They're just going down from there. It's a little hard to see, but you can see them here. These little pods. So basically, it's got a bunch of thrusters added to the backpack. Is the main thing. Bunch of mobility added. So yeah, that is the Nemo Sword Kai. It is, looking at this unit, actually, I realized these thrusters, they're not even attached to the backpack. Take a look up close here. They're attached to the rear
the back
skirt.
of the arms, right?
They're on the rear skirt there. And then this backpack here is just, like, in the middle, like, in between.
Well, but hold up. If you look right here, the way they, like, nestle up against the back of the arms, and you can see this part right here, do they also plug in at the shoulders?
I don't know. No, because you can see there's
this
a
makes
gap
it look
there.
like they do. This makes it look like they don't. Yeah.
So it's just, though it is interesting, they remove the back of the armor for the shoulders, as you can see there, which is interesting.
Yeah.
All right, yeah. So it gets those, and that is sort of the the mid-tier one. Then we get the first one that is actually called. This is the Nemo Sword Kai Proto 3. Long name. And this is like the start of where they just start calling them the slave swords, because they are, run by a tyrant is kind of the reference they have going on there. This machine no longer resembles a Nemo anymore. It has added rounded armor to the shoulders. Well, actually, I guess I'll start with the head. For the head, you've got this big armor just put over the Nemo head. Blocking the front. It does have like a little cut in the middle that I presume is still for the camera that is in there, like the mono eye. Then it's got these like little like bits open on the side that some other eyes glow through in certain versions of this. You've got these extra thick pipes added to like the around the head going into the backpack. The torso has a bunch of extra armor added to the top of it. But funnily, it's still, like, underneath, that's, like, just, like, the Nemo torso. It's got the same, like, the vents, like, where they're... It's, like, just Nemo torso. But it's got a bunch of armor added to the top and, like, a big scoop added over the middle here. Then, for the shoulders, you've got big, rounded, like, shield-like shoulders added. That actually, like, go all the way down to the bicep. Well, I guess they are the bicep. That's the thing. This is all one piece, so it's not even, like, armor hanging over the bicep. It's just got thick biceps, basically, that are part of the shoulder, which is kind of fun. You also get some additional cables running from the top into the bottom there. For the lower arms, they've been changed a bit. They are still boxy. The hands, because this is now an automated mobile suit, probably why it also adds, like, the extra armor here and stuff, too, like, in a weird way. Like, you're like, well, that wouldn't protect the pilot, but there's no pilot anymore. This is now a fully remote machine. And because of that, the hands have also been simplified. The hands are now just, like, these little 3-finger manipulators. As you move on to the waist, you've got kind of a simplified waist, a bunch of cables running into the thighs there, and then on the back you have presumably just like more propellant tanks or something, these big boxes that are just attached to the back where all the cables are connected into. For the legs, the thighs, they have like a big panel line running down them, but otherwise overall it's kind of simple armored thighs. They have a little thruster on the outside. And then for the lower legs, you got these really weird lower legs, because like the lower legs and the feet are all like one piece. You've got some thrusters on the outside and inside of the calves here. You've got just like a big plate of armor going all the way down from like the knee area to the bottom of the foot. It just has like a toe sticking out, and then you've got like these little heel pieces sticking up on the back. And then you have like this large square thruster. The way that this thruster is set on these legs, one, looks like it would be like movable, and two, you know what this reminds me of in shape is it reminds me of the AOZ Barzam, and how it's got like the weird like little thrusters that pop down on the back of the leg. Not like it's not like entirely similar in the overall shape, but like these parts, that pop down is just kind of what those like inset things remind me of.
I did need an example because I do my best to block out Barzams from my memory.
Barzam 2's cool though. Anyway, but yeah, and then moving on to the backpack. Now the backpack has, instead of it being attached to like the waist, now these parts are attached to the backpack. You've got a large housing with 2 big verniers in the middle of it, and then attached on the upper and lower side of it, you've got the various thrusters. You got the 2 big ones on top. They've got the boxes on the bottom. They got some intakes on the front, and then you've got these 2 lower like wing thrusters that are a bit smaller than the top ones. Don't have like the boxes on them, but look like they are still able to move on their own. In terms of weapons, this starts using a very similar beam rifle. It looks like it's maybe a little simplified as the one that the Tyrant sword uses. You can see it there, though. It's got the it's got the little metal thing on the side. It's a boxy thing. The metal and the scope are kind of like attached around each other, and they are a bit further up the gun. But overall, it is, a very similar beam rifle design. And yeah, you can see, here's the colors that they have it here. It's like a white and orange, and is that it's sort of like a blue on the back. I thought it was gray, but it was...
Well, there's a very clear blue in the middle.
Yeah, that's the thing.
So
it's weird.
And then there's sort of like, a darker, like slightly greenish blue in the back, as you say.
Yeah. Greenish,
grayish, washed out.
Yeah. And so this is the slave sword, though. And so these are mobile suit bits that are able to be controlled by the Tyrant sword. This is, of course, the first version of the slave sword. It gets one more upgrade, of which we have art for here. Let me get that, just because I assume my art might be higher detail than anything that's online. I'm going to do it in 2... It's only on 1 page, but I'm going to do it in 2 sections, just so it's, easy to get... Easier for everyone to see when we put them side by side. And yeah, so here is the final slave sword design. Changes a bit more from the design. So, the head is... It's weird. It adds even more armor, but it's around the back of the head and kind of attached into the backpack. The torso now has, like, the vents on it, kind of similar to the ones that are on the Tyrant sword. You can see them, like, around the torso area there. And even the vents have been changed to being, like, the Tyrant sword's vents. So, it's weird. They basically have changed the torso into being the Tyrant sword torso altogether.
Yeah.
The waist... the arms next. The shoulders are similar to the earlier slave sword, where like the bicep, the shoulder, etc. is all just these big, huge, rounded parts. Has a bit of extra thrust added around the back and front and top, as well as like on the lower bicep area of these either like verniers or possibly vents. The lower arm, funnily, now has 5 fingers again. They're a little chunkier, and it has, like, the big, blocky lower arms. They have a thruster added onto the back of these arms, too, you can see there, from the rear shot. The lower half of this design is now also very much emulating the Tyrant sword, though a little simpler in some details, like on the feet, but otherwise it's basically just like the Tyrant sword lower body. It's got the same little boxes on the back there. It's just a little fatter and wider, or like longer front to back, basically. It's weird. Basically what this resembles is like a squat, weird looking version of the Tyrant sword now. To go with that, as you can see with the gun has now been changed into like just a copy of the Tyrant swords. It's got the more back located little metal. The scope is the same design there, etc. It's got a slightly different armrest design to rest around these like really large arms, I assume, is why it's like much wider now. But yeah. And when we see the cutaway though of it, very similar cutaway as we had with the Tyrant sword. I love the head being yanked out here with all these extra cables now.
Yeah.
It's such a cool looking bit of art here. So yeah, basically the slave sword eventually stops resembling a Nemo at all. It is no longer a Nemo. Like, even the prior one, there are some parts that are shared with the Nemo, but by the time we reach this, no more Nemo. You can see the height of it here. It's a little shorter than the Tyrant sword itself. It kind of goes with what I was saying with it being a more squat version of the design. And then finally, the backpack. It's a little awkward because he cuts off one of these so he could actually show the leg here, but it has two of these like thrusters on the back, one on each side, and they're just like really long versions of the prior thrusters, but it's instead of having four, now it's just two. So in a way, it's been a little bit simplified for the final one compared to the prior, but it's much more of its own machine now. And what I'm trying to find is, do I have any color, like, models of these? Because I'm not seeing it. Oh, yes, okay.
The wiki does.
Yes,
so.
And I was going to say, I do have them here in the book. They're just on a weird page. Here we are. Oh, are they only in the story pages? Maybe that's why I'm not finding, like, just the build on its own, maybe. Like, I have... I'll post one of them here. You can see on the cover of this Hobby Japan, on the left, you can see one in the back. But I'm trying... Oh, here it is. Here it is. Okay, found the page. Cool. Here's the actual page with the model. There we go. I'll let you put that there. So, it changes the color scheme now to match the Tyrant swords as well, where it's just the blue, white, and, like, orange. Though, funnily, it's got, like, flesh-colored fingers. And actually, some of the other internal parts, like, are, like, more of a tan color, like, on the back of the legs there, which is interesting. But, yeah. I didn't notice this. It also has the mandibles now that the Tyrant sword has there, added to the head.
They're much more, like, close to the head, but yeah. Well, I guess just in that image. Well, no, I think they are.
Yeah, they're just close to the head. But yeah, no, oh, actually, maybe I was wrong about the backpack. It is still just one of these in the middle, and then it's two of these on the outside. Sorry, I was misreading the art for that. So it's one big thruster.
It looks, in the art, it looks kind of off-center, and it makes you think that. But
yeah, I think it's just because this design's kind of squat, so...
The angle is harsher than you'd... And the angle is a little harsher than you'd expect.
Yeah, okay. Alright, so it's just one big thruster in the middle, and then, like, two little side things that I presume are maybe just propellant. And yeah, so that's the final of these. This is the slave sword. These are controlled by the Tyrant sword in battle. Again, something that Gundam wouldn't really revisit again until Gundam X, with the mobile suit, like the bits there. Which I just find that interesting that, you know, it takes a while for them to come back. And yeah, I guess that's it, though, because I'm trying to think, and I'm like, the other machines would be covered in other episodes. I guess, actually, there's one machine that I don't know if we covered it during our gym episode, because we had so many of those.
Yeah, that's the question.
So fuck it. I'll just share it real quick. This is the predecessor of the Nemo sword. This is the Gym II Kai. It actually doesn't even have sword in the name. You can see some elements of it, though, that get carried onto, like the antenna and whatnot, that get carried forward. It's just kind of a weird painted Gym. Like, it's a Gym II that is in Fujita's art style. It's got very thin legs. It's got, like, extra shoulder thrusters going on, and it's got the extra head antenna. The shield is kind of Nemo, like the Nemo style shield. It's got, like, a little open... It's weird because it's asymmetrical, because normally you have the shield that has the openings on both sides. You can see on this, it only has the handle on, like, an opening on the one side. The forward-facing side. But, yeah. And, you know, it's a neat little guy, but it's nothing too special. I guess
do we...
Oh, yeah. What?
Do we need to talk about the SAM?
I was going to show those. So these are not designs that I think that come up in the story. But I have some art of them. We don't have to talk about, luckily, the Masalas, but there's...
By the way, I think we have talked about the Masalas. Believe it or not. But on our Masala episode. Yeah. But the thing with the Gym II Custom is its place, like... Again, reading MAHQ, which we all know is a flawed resource. But
or the wiki, or...
Yes, excuse me. MAHQ, good resource. Apologies, Chris, I misspoke.
Yeah. I was gonna say.
The Gundam Wiki, which we know is a flawed resource. The claim here is that the GM II Custom goes on to be the leading Federation mobile suit of its time, which is not true in normal UC.
The problem is...
And sort of... Yes,
the story is written right after Double Zeta. Unfortunately...
and it is projecting forward, and then it gets counteracted by what comes after, is what you're saying.
This happens a lot with earlier side stories, because...
That's fair. I was just trying to determine whether or not it was intended at the time to be a side story, like an AU or not, and I guess not. It's just, it was like, and this is the future, and then other stories were like, no, it's not.
I mean, you run into this problem a lot. There's, if you take every side story as true, unfortunately, like, that is within UC, you just run into problems of timeline. There's so many simultaneous conflicts going on, and... little things going on,
and even ones that people don't think about. I had a little post tirade about this recently, because this is the drum that I beat about Unicorn, right? Which is like, it's fine, but don't pretend that Unicorn doesn't make later UC stuff not make sense.
Well, like, the only way to take it is that what happens in Unicorn just doesn't matter, right? Like, that's the only, which is not what the story wants to say, but that is the only way you can take it, right? Because there's just no way it works otherwise. Like, did them telling the Federation and the world about the thing actually do anything? Well, no, it doesn't. So,
I mean, and also, the Psycho Shard generator must simply have never occurred. There cannot be a piece of technology that grants wishes and simply just never matters again.
Well, either that, or they just sealed it all on the moon, I guess. Maybe that's where Dome comes from. The Dome is actually the unicorn that became alive.
Oh, that makes sense. That's probably right.
I hate this. But yeah, no, like again, it's just, people who write their stories just don't always, this is why I thought Thunderbolt was interesting, because Thunderbolt's kind of doing, like, the old side story thing of just going, I'm just gonna make a thing that's, like, related to the stories I either worked on or liked, right? Rather than having to account for all of Gundam, because it's just impossible now, right? Like, there is not a Gundam, like, here's a Bible of things you have to look at and know before you make your side story. It's just that, one, that would be unreasonable to ask anyone to do, and, two, it just doesn't exist.
We have more fun this way.
And
I also think that...
Oh, sorry, no, that was it.
I often think of Thunderbolt, or even the Origin, as being like the Force Unleashed compared to normal Star Wars. Mm-hmm. Where it's just like, no, this is a realm of hyperbole. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. Yeah. Because there's just no reason to worry about it. Like, again, Gundam fans, unfortunately, being nerds means that they get really, really, like, annoyed by this. It's fine. Mm-hmm. Not all the side stories need to be true simultaneously. You don't need... a long time ago, when I had been on a forum, a Gundam translator, Mark Simmons, had a really good line that I don't remember the exact quote, but it was along the lines of, maybe the ability to accept more than one quote-unquote true fictional reality is the first step to humans' new type awakening. And I think, I think about that line sometimes because of, that's the thing.
Uh-huh.
There's no universal truth to fictional media. And to act like there is a fool's endeavor, especially when it becomes a franchise like Gundam where you get 1 billion people writing for it. These people do not, all psychically communicate with each other to account for all the stories that are being made. And
the other thing, I don't know, the other thing that gets me is, I hold that perspective, right? There are people who you're not going to convince to not be like, hey, I want there to be one coherent timeline, right? What makes sense, what doesn't. Uh-huh. And it's like, I think that's a trap, but if that's how your brain is, okay. But you need to stop picking and choosing. You need to stop being, well, Thunderbolt couldn't have happened, but the Origin's obviously canon.
Yeah. I mean, again, this is like doing this, being able to let go is maybe why I stopped being so annoyed about 1 Year War side stories all the time. I mean, I still want...
They're
I
fun.
want more people to still make things outside of it. But as in, like, my complaint now isn't just, oh, there's too many things going on at once. Maybe is how I should put it.
Sure.
Now my complaint is just, it's boring to keep doing the same thing. Make a Zeta or double Zeta or something side story.
Yeah, that's fair. I really like where the tech is. And, obviously all the side stories kind of break the tech a little bit. That's part of what they do. But as a baseline, I find 1 Year War era, like especially late 1 Year War era tech, to be have such like universal like comprehension. You look at a machine, you understand what it does. It can have a really like handsome design that still very clearly communicates its role. And there are good things and bad things about that, but by the time you get to Zeta, often you look at a design and until you do some reading, you're like, what the fuck am I looking at? Which again, cool in its own way, but I do really appreciate, like,
well, and it doesn't help that
Armored Jim, you look at that and you understand.
Yeah, well, I mean, it doesn't help that, like, even within the universe, right? When you start taking all the tech to its logical conclusions, you run into problems where you end up being too much of a nerd and you make things too strong. This is, like, a thing that comes up in Sentinel when, people talk about Sentinel, and it's like, things... Like, if you can just have, like, reflective beam rifle, like, a beam rifle that, you fire and then you can reflect the beam into, like, the back of the enemy in case they try dodging, then wouldn't that be overpowered? And it's like, yeah, but it is using tech that exists, like, in the universe, right? Like, the Gundam, the Psycho Gundam Mark II uses reflector bits. So reflector bits are, like, a known quantity in this universe now. And so when you start thinking too much about all of this, when you're too much of a nerd and you're not just writing a dramatic TV show, it's... The mecha nerds, unfortunately, make a lot of overpowered things because of that. This is even, like, AOZ runs into this problem a lot. Kenki Fujioka is a gigantic nerd. He knows a lot. Yeah. You look at all of his notes and he's, like, referencing, like, 20 different, like, machines from, like, all these different things, and you realize, it's not just, like, that these things feel overpowered, it's that this guy's pool of reference is huge. And when you have a huge pool of reference, that means you're just pulling from so many sources that theoretically all should exist, and that's going to create some problems. It's just interesting to think about. And, like, that's just the unfortunate thing with Gundam being a franchise. It's not a media property that is made by one guy. It is, like, a big thing with a bunch of people with their hands in the pie.
Well, I mean, unfortunately for the sake of consistency.
Fortunately for us who like robots.
Fortunately, yeah.
I think it's a beautiful thing getting to see a lot of robots. Like, not like, I don't want it to sound like, I love corporate thing, but you know what I mean. Like, I like that a lot of people get to make robots that I like. Overall.
I love that we get to have the works of Jinthed alongside the works of Kazuhisa Kondo.
Yeah, exactly.
That's great.
Anyway, before we got onto this giant tangent, the Sam and the Gaza. These are just two little side suits that I don't think come up in the story at all, that appear in, like, the illustrations. Sorry, I'll let you do that. But yeah, here we have the...
Wow, I didn't know about the Gaza.
We have the Sam and the Gaza. These are two, just unique Fujita designs. He made a Federation design and a Neo Zeon design.
This is like a lean Messer Marasai. This is fucking cool.
Yeah, it's a cool Gaza variant that doesn't do any of the Gaza things, because it's not a transforming mobile suit. It doesn't, I don't know why it's called the Gaza, because it doesn't do what any of the Gaza suits do. But it looks really cool, so I'm okay with that. It's basically, it's got a Xeon-style head with, like, two gas mask cables going into the neck area. It's got a very bulky torso with kind of Federation-style chest vents that are facing downward on the chest. You've got these big rounded shoulder parts. With the arms, the hands look like they're, like, kind of like simple Kondo style, like the buggy. Like, they're like the 3-finger manipulators, but they're like the Kondo buggy kind of looking ones. Huge skirt. You know what this feels very DJ also, actually, looking at it. In a weird way.
Well, there's a DJ in this, too. The
SER, yeah. Which is...
The SER is from this, which is weird.
Well, that's weird. Well, it's from two things. It's from Zeta MSV and this. So, like, that's, like, the one time we kind of get to have, like, Tyrant Sword references and stuff is when the DJ SER gets to appear in things. Because the whole thing with it...
Right, because
given the name...
It has the SE system. Yeah.
Which is interesting. But yeah. And then, like, the legs, you got the big outside thrusters, you got these big...
We've
feet.
never done the DJ, have we? There's no way we've done the DJ. I don't think we've
done the DJ, surprisingly.
We haven't done any DJs, no.
Okay. Well, we'll have to add those to the list at some point. Or are they already on the list? They might already be there, I don't know.
They're not on the list.
Add them to the list. That's a pretty big family.
Yeah.
Can't believe I overlooked that, of all things. Like, and whatever. I guess, like, well, the thing is, I don't actually like the base DJ, but I love all the variants.
Right. Yes. No, the original DJ is kind of an ugly little machine, but the Rick and the SER and the assault package and stuff, it gets some cool... Well, the assault package is kind of dumb, but...
Yeah, I mean, it's alright. But yeah. Anyway, the SAM here. The SAM is... It looks like it would be if you took the Slave Sword, but then you made it a pilotable machine. Like, you made a gym out of the Slave Sword. Or the Tyrant Sword, even. Because it's got this long head. I love this head. It's got a head that is very long front to back, almost kind of like Marasai or like that kind of style. But then it has like its own face, more like Jim style. But then it also looks like it has a mono eye. So, weird head going on here. It's got two cables running from like the little cheek area into the torso. The torso is like a standard 3-section torso. You've got vent sections and you've got a big cockpit block section in the middle. The shoulders, just nicely detailed shoulders, a bunch of cables running from the shoulders into the torso. You got a big outer thruster, decently detailed biceps. It looks like it's got a bunch of sections of armor, kind of a standard double joint. The lower arm looks to be just like kind of a squared off one. We unfortunately don't get like a back view of this machine because it's like a little side theoretical machine he drew rather than something that like super matters. You gotta...
We just need to have a GBO2 event where they have all of these added, and then we'll get all the perspectives we want.
Crotch piece, you've got some thrusters on the bottom of it. You've got not really even skirts. It's got like I guess they are. It's got like these plates of armor that hang down on the sides that protect like where the leg is jointed in to the waist, which is interesting. But not like, big front skirts, because otherwise you see the whole thigh. Much like the Tyrant Sword also, you've got these, side attachments that protect around the sides of the legs, and they look like they might even run into the back. But again, we don't have a rear view, so it's hard to tell. Then for the legs, big legs, lots of like little thrusters, these little tiny knee parts. Looks like it's got these big thrusters on the back, very elongated feet, like a lot of his designs for the series. I like that you've got like in the middle between the foot and the heel, you've got this big circular joint there. The feet parts are connected into. Looks like it has something going on in the back. It looks like there's like a beam saber. I can't tell what this other attachment is, if that's like a sensor fin or what. But yeah.
Hard to
tell. Looks cool though.
Yeah.
Cool looking suit. Again, very...
No, you know what? I think it's just another beam saber. It's just that the angle... No, it can't be. The design is too different.
But yeah, so cool machine here. And so there's one other little thing I want to show, because while that's like all the like unique machines that we wouldn't cover in another episode, there is one thing I can show. Actually, two things real quick. One, because I realized I didn't show it earlier, and... Oh, no, it doesn't have a... Oh? Hold on. I was seeing if that Nemo sword... It has a model, it's just not in these pages, weirdly. The Nemo sword Kai. Like, there's a model, I just don't have color photos of it. It's in this, black and white, like, custom model page. Sad.
Oh, weird.
The other thing is from another food...
Well, you gotta show it for more than a split second.
Sorry.
Dylan. Like 2 frames.
Apologies. Well, I mean, look, the reason why is because I was like, this isn't substantial.
Well, sure, just put it on screen while you find the next thing.
I've relinked it, so it should load in a sec. Problem is, these images are huge. These scans are big.
Yeah. Well, okay, yeah, it kind of fucked things up a little bit there. Okay, there we go.
So the other thing that is really funny is that Fujita made a version of what would the Zeta look like if it had the SE drive. Like what if it was like an SE drive based
Yeah?
machine?
Huh.
This is just like a what if, because he was doing a bunch of styles of Zetas and Mark IIs in one of his books. Like, he's just like, here's different styles.
Whoa.
Look at this Zeta, though. This thing fucking rules. This is just like, what if I made Zeta, but like I wasn't restrained at all, and it was like for like a Tyrant sword thing. It doesn't transform.
This is a Zeta Shiki Kai.
Yeah, it doesn't transform,
which makes sense because
but it's
uh-huh.
So
that's really cool.
I love the head.
That's cooler than the Zeta.
The head is, again, it kind of like the Sam, where you have like the long back skirt on the head, like going all the way back. For this one, it kind of just plugs into the torso, it looks like. And then, for the face, you've got like a very sharp Zeta-esque face. You got these sharp, like little mandible-ish cheek armor bits. It's so cool. Yeah, and I mean, to be fair, the Hyakushiki Kai, also a Fujita design. So, kind of makes sense there. But yeah, the torso, you've got like a bunch of visible mechanics, lots of these like little cables and stuff going in like through the torso. The vents look kind of sad because they're down at an angle, but they're still cool. They're just, depressed. Big, shoulders, rectangular, go out. Very decorated bicep armor going on. The lower arms are so cool, just lots of these cables and visible like little pistons and stuff on the back with the armor. The fingers have knuckle guards, which is really cool. Like, located on the very back joint, you've just got these extra like knuckle guards, which is really fun. Then yeah, the crotch piece, very long going downward, lots of little vents all over it. The legs are very similar to the Tyrant sword legs. You got some scoops on the sides of them. And then the backpack unit is like these two big flat thrusters. I was trying to think of what these thrusters remind me of, because they're not reminding me of the Tyrant sword. They're actually giving something else to me, and I'm trying to think of what.
Yeah, definitely.
They're kind of giving Elgheim stuff to me, now that I think about it. Like, give me a sec. Yeah, like, specifically the Elgheim Mark II's, like, backpack stuff. Like, give me 1 second, I'm trying to get it. I guess also, though, makes me think a little bit of, like, some of the Crossbound Vanguard suits as well.
Yeah, I'm not really.
Here we
are. I mean, I kind of see what you're saying.
I just mean the
two
two side things, and these are able to like move up and down a bit, like.
Yeah, like the proportions of them are similar, but this specific style of having this like wider pod attached to the back of the shoulders is also reminding me of something specific that I can't.
That's the thing, is it's remember. Like I'm looking at it, I'm like, there's got to be something else that I'm like drawing from here.
There's something more. A more close comparison.
Well, and there's also like, and I think it's a Gundam thing that I'm thinking of, funnily, and I'm just like,
yes,
fuck,
definitely.
What is it? It's driving me nuts because I'm staring at this and I'm like, I know that I'm like, this is familiar to me for some reason. I just don't know why it's familiar to me. But yeah, really cool Zeta here.
I mean, it's not this, right? This isn't what we're thinking of. But it's not entirely dissimilar from the head.
I mean, no, that's not what I'm thinking of.
That's not what either of us are thinking of. That's not what either of us are thinking of.
But I get what you're saying, because I do see what you mean.
It's just kind of funny.
But yeah, no, but the head dude is not even in the same fucking league as this thing.
Yeah.
See, I'm wondering if it's another Zeta Fujita suit is the thing, right? Like, I'm like, is there something like weird that
I don't think so. Not in my head. I mean, this is one of those things where I can only like. This is an indistinct memory, and I only get pieces of it, but I don't think it's I do think it's from this era, though, so maybe you're right.
I don't know.
If only the Gundam Wiki had an option to sort by designer.
Well, and like I said, a lot of the things that it's also making me think of, though, even though it's not entirely the same, but like one of the ideas is, the shelf nozzles on all the Crossbound Vanguard suits, these. But again, not the same exact... Like, the shape is the thing that is also, like, familiar to me, and these are not shaped that way. It's just similar, like, function right. And, like, the way they can, like, move over. But it's not... Oh, this is gonna drive me nuts. Whatever.
Yeah.
It's fine. It's fine. but it is going to drive me nuts now. Anyway, really cool alternate Zeta art, though.
Yeah.
You know what other machine also, now that I just, like, it's a Fujita machine. If you want to know what, like, design language Fujita calls upon a lot with, the Tyrant swords and whatnot, simply look at the Beerlant. Just, like, all these, like, thruster shapes and whatnot. It's just interesting.
I mean, these side things look very much like the back pods.
And, like, the way that these feet are, the way the legs kind of, like, have this, like, kick forward, and the way these feet are offset. Just interesting, because, you know. I mean, it's the same designer. Makes sense. Alright, well, that's all for our Tyrant Sword episode, which ended up being a lot more, but, I mean, we need to cover these guys. They're cool.
Yeah.
Alright, 6, where can people find you online?
You can find me on Blue Sky at 6.MR You know what? That's true, but you should actually just go to 6.scanlandmedia.com. The old one still works. I just forgot myself for a second. You can find my work at scanlandmedia.com or patreon.com/scanlandmedia. Would very much appreciate your support. And you can talk with us over on the Scanline Media Discord. I am officially saying a little more firmly, please give us more requests.
Yeah. We like requests.
We like requests. Maybe I'll message the channel and bug people, because I also know that, like, listen, I listen to a fair few podcasts. I listen to them while I'm working and my hands are busy. And if you give me a call to action on a podcast, probably by the time I'm in a position to act on it, I've forgotten.
Yeah. So
I get it.
Yeah, no, that's entirely fair. Man, it's always weird to think about, I think about how one time, sorry, this just got me thinking about it. I was like, in terms of people listening, I got reminded of the one time that our podcast was somehow the top, one of the top podcasts in the design category on Apple Podcasts, and it made me laugh.
I had no idea that happened.
Yeah, it was like one time I checked on it, and it was like that. I was just like, what? The thing is, we call it design, but it's not, we're not discussing the same thing as other design podcasts, you know?
There must not be a lot of competition in that field. I mean, you know, this show does okay, but like...
Yeah. Where are we oh, shit, okay. I was like, what are our related ones? No longer a more civilized age, unfortunately, but Media Club Plus is now, you may like from us, which is funny.
Sure. Why not?
As well as Side Story.
Shoutouts.
And yeah, no, it's just funny. Just look, I get curious sometimes. I don't see our numbers or anything. I don't look at that. I don't, engage.
It sounds like you know them better than I do, which is hilarious.
I just check on Apple Podcasts occasionally. Well, you know why I used to check it is because I like seeing us get our reviews, which we haven't gotten a new review since 2023, but we have a lot of nice reviews, and sometimes it makes me feel good about myself when I see us have nice reviews, you know?
Not to put too fine a point on it or anything, but wow, 5 stars overall, 12 reviews, that's fantastic. I started doing this, I mean, not this podcast, but I started doing, this general type of stuff like 12 years ago, and I had to train myself to never look and never give a shit, or I would have quit, you know?
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's I totally get it. I just have fun. Other note, real quick, because I want to ask it when we're at the end of the episode nonsense. How are you feeling about these little guys? Not painted, but...
No, they're all right. I mean... I think they're pretty cute, you know?
I want the Woundwort.
I like their picks.
I want the Woundwort, the Hygog, and the Wing Zero so bad.
I think their choices are really... they're not, super niche, but they're fun choices.
Yeah. Also, it's fun to see that Susagane was the artist, because he is someone I used to follow on Twitter, when he was doing Gundam fan art, and now he's, doing the art and design, I presume some of the design work, at least, for this line, which is fun.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I just had to show those off, because those are new. Oh, I guess you can find me at Low Poly Robot on Busky, you know where to find me.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, well, with that...
I don't have any quotes, but have you seen this stuff with the Gundam TCG?
No.
I mean, it's getting Pokemon'd.
What?
You can't get it unless you pay, 5 times MSRP.
Oh, no. Does that happen to like all of Bandai's card games, I assume?
I don't know. I mean, it happens, like, as a person who works at a retailer where card games are sold. I mean, one, we don't have the Gundam card game. We've got it online, but we don't have it in store. Yeah. But, like, Pokemon is the only one that people line up and just destroy, right? Like, if you want to go in and get some Magic cards, you can do that.
Uh-huh. Well, yeah, that's the thing. I've never seen for all. I imagine like the hidden or the secret layer stuff for Magic probably sells out quick, but like normal MTGs seems like it's usually easy to get.
Mm-hmm. Did you see that the decks? Well, not all of them, but there is a version of the decks that come with minis for the Tactics game they're releasing next year.
Oh, that's cute. That's fun.
Yeah, they look good.
You know what? I mean,
it's funny. All the ones are painted, but
they've been kind of not like all in, but they have been going in on like more like little things again, which is nice. Not that they hadn't before, but it's interesting because it's a slightly different market. You know, they used to have like the Gashapon SD toys and whatnot, right? And like little guys.
Mm-hmm.
There's not quite as many of those seemingly. Now there's like more of these like blind box things instead, which is, you know, like what these are. Because, like, you know, just to share the one that Schizophonic 9 has, you can see, like, there's the one for the game on the left. It's just interesting that you got all these, like, little guys, because there's the Gundam Artifact guys, which are pretty cool. Then there's these Superior Define guys, which are sort of just an SD version of Artifact, where it's like, what if we did a really detailed, really tiny design that, like, you know, is, like, more of a mini to paint. And then, of course, the Tactics game mini for, like, that.
One thing I find really like fun and like kind of funny, but not funny in a mocking way, is with these, the way they're painted on these demo ones is like, oh, you got a war game painter to do this.
Which, I mean, to be fair, they're so tiny that you kind of have to, you know?
Sure. It's just funny that like you can tell the way they do like shading. You know, like shading and wear is like, okay, this is a war game painter.
Yeah, for sure.
Also, oh, his leg is up. I was like, also, what happened to the Tallgeese's leg?
I think it's just doing like a thrust pose, like it's moving forward.
All
right. Well, with that, no quote. I guess we're just done.
Nope. Yeah. Last episode of the show.
What?
Wow.
No! There's so many more robots to talk about, even though we still have talked about many, but I want to talk about more. You can't do this to me.
The podcast is over, Dylan. You don't have to talk anymore.